Good morning. Welcome to IT Navigatrix Consulting Techie Tuesdays. Today we're going to talk about customer service just briefly, really informally, because part of what bubbled this to the radar for me today was an experience I had yesterday. So as you might have seen in previous videos, my video was recording in black and white. Today you can see it's in color. I have been struggling with and troubleshooting this particular issue for, if not, and so I had reached out to the manufacturer of my laptop and chased around to 6 different pages, 2 to 3 different virtual agents. They wanted information that they really didn't need to be using to as my primary record or user ID, and it had to be transferred like 2 or 3 times to finally get to someone who ultimately couldn't really help me. So today we're that like put a bee in my bonnet, because a while ago in my varied past, I was in culinary school for 1 quarter, and one of the classes that I took was service. And in that class, in the service class, there is a statistic that says if you get 3 bad reviews on your restaurant, it can actually close your restaurant. Like 3 bad reviews is all it takes to shut you down. And with sites like Yelp and the internet being more and more prevalent in terms of these evaluations, right? Being able to provide online evaluations and trolls, right? People are just entitled and nasty. So, so I wanted to talk to you, right? As small business owners, we might think that just, hey, we were nice, we were kind, we're small, we're just getting started. I tried, right? Those actually are have you as the center of your paradigm and your vision, and it's actually not about you. It's about your customers, right? And so when we talk about customer service, it's more than just I used my nice voice, I wasn't nasty to them, right? It's more. There's more to it than that. There's an actual intentional plan and process and methodology for rolling out 5-star or world-class customer service. We're going to dance about it or talk a little bit about it here today. So you want to make sure that the focus is on you or on your customers, right? And when you ask somebody, well, what is customer service? It is subjective, right? It's, you know it when you see it, but there are some feelings and some impressions that cause that sensation of, yes, I received it, right? And that is, the process was organized. The information and the interaction was intuitive. The data was clear. The message was clear. The instructions were clear. They were accurate. They were consistent from place to place, right? From page 1 of your website to page 3 of your website. The information is thorough, right? It doesn't leave them guessing in terms of what they need to be doing, where they need to go to get help, and it needs to be concise, right? Not like 4 pages of information to sort through, one and done. So that's what customer service feels like, right? I feel like my experience was, it was organized, it was intuitive, it was concise, right? And so with that, and then the follow-up, so it's not just when they are first learning about you or when they're first purchasing with you. The customer service also includes the time they spend with you. So it's from making first contact with them to the time that they delete their account or are no longer your customer, right? So that's when the customer service model actually wraps up. And so you want to make sure that your follow-up is also gracious and thorough, and work is communicated and warm and consistent, timely. You set expectations and delivered on them. The process is transparent. They know what's going to happen next. and you allow for different levels of technology, right? So some of your, some of your clients might be 70 years old, right? And they didn't grow up using computers. And so computing is just hard for them. Some people, spend the time to learn it, but some people just really continue to struggle with it, right? And it's our responsibility to account for that with them. So you also want to make sure that it accounts for not just different skills, but different access, right? So not everybody speaks English, not everybody can hear, not everybody can see. There are access accommodations that you can make also to ensure that everyone is welcome, everyone is accounted for, right? And different learning styles. So I personally have a full-on dislike for speech IVR, right? I don't know if it's the way that I talk. There's something in the tone of my voice that makes them stop recording or not listen. But I just, how many of you have yelled agent into the phone, right? Like it can be really frustrating when the bots don't understand what it is you want, right? So then how do you deliver 5-star customer service? What is that process? And it starts with identifying your intention. What are the feelings that you want your customer to experience? And then what are the things or the activities or the processes that you have to do in order to enable those feelings? So if you want it to be concise, then you write your copy and your communications clearly. You get maybe an editor to read them if necessary. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about what are the feelings I want to invoke and what are some of those action words that relate to those, and then how am I going to build that in? So there's somebody out in the internet world, right? Better yet, Simon Sinek, right? Here's a clear source. Simon Sinek talks about in one of his books the need for both strength in leadership and warmth, right? So you can be efficient, but if you're just really, there's no personality in the experience, those people aren't going to necessarily, your customers aren't going to necessarily feel like you care about them. I didn't feel yesterday like my laptop provider cared about my feelings in the experience whatsoever. They didn't care about my frustration. They didn't care about how many hoops I had to jump through. They were like, well, we're just big and we have different departments. Why do I have to re-register when I'm an existing customer with you? That seems silly. So, case in point. All right, next, after you figure out what intentions and feelings you want the experience to be, then you document how you're going to deliver that. And part of that is doing some process mapping. So what are the processes? Here's my process for marketing and the feeling that I want to convey in my marketing to my customers. Here's my ordering experience and the feelings that I want them to have during that experience. Here's my purchasing experience, right? Like I made the purchase online, boom, there's an immediate email that comes back and says, here's everything, right? That's part of the visibility or communication plan that you're going to want to create. So are there any special touches that you want to build in? I run in this women's business group on Facebook, and a number of them are so sweet, right? Like you engage with them and they send you books and presents and thank you cards in the mail, right? They really go the extra mile to make sure that you feel important to them, right? And that's that graciousness and that warmth that as a small business, we have an easier time, right? Because our scale is smaller. We have an easier time implementing systems like that. But they can go a long way in building customer loyalty and engagement. So, and ultimately, we want to be creating evangelists for our company, right? So we want to be so good at what we do, and we want their experience to be so awesome that they tell everyone that they know, right? Because word of mouth is a huge factor in networking and in building your content, right? So some of the processes then include process mapping. So what are all the processes? writing out a communication plan. So what this is you're going to look at the processes, and then you're going to look at, how do I want to provide visibility to this process for my customer, both from a new purchase perspective and a customer support perspective. So what are the, do I need to send an email here? Where in the process do I need to build in and proceduralize my communication with my customer? Make sense? So, and if you use templates, right, you don't have to rewrite those things every time. You're not prone to errors by, because you rewrote it every time you're using the same template over and over. You know that all the information is so it's clear, it's concise, it's repeatable. So you put together your communication plan, and then you look at how you're going to build that into your processes, right? And then there's this thing called data mapping, and that's where you look at the data. What data do I need to collect up front when the account is getting created or when the order is getting created that helps me with my customer service or sustaining that account later on, right? So it could be, that the order number is attached to every email that goes out to them. If you're using the order number as a lookup piece of information, right? If you're using that to look up your customer information about that specific order, making sure that order number is included on every email so that they don't have to dig around to try to figure out, what does it want from me and where do I find that information? Right? That's just frustrating, and that frustration gets put on you. So we don't want that. So data mapping, to figure out what data is needed at the start of the process and then through the life cycle of each of the processes, so that you can be delivering consistently, concisely, effectively. And then what are the processes, either the manual processes or the automated processes, depending on where your maturity is with your business. What are the processes and the software tools that are needed to deliver consistently? So I'm sure you placed an order on the internet and immediately got an email back, and it either had, here's the information on how to create your account, or here's the information that you need to know about your order. Here's the tracking number. Here's the expected. Here's your tracking number. Here's the SLA, service level agreement, for when that package is going to arrive. We're going to put the order number on all of your emails. We're going to set expectations, and here's a tracking number for you to be able to watch your delivery along the way. And then we have our people take pictures when they put it at your doorstep, right, to prove that it was actually delivered. These are all steps in the customer service process that are intentional, right? They set out, they had a problem. Packages are sometimes going missing, right? And so we're going to take this picture, we're going to send it to you. So what are the software tools or the manual processes or automated processes that you're going to use to deliver consistently? And then for you, as because it can be a lot, depending on how far and deep you want to go, and the processes that you want to implement. Then once you understand, here are all the processes that I want to implement, here's all the work that I need to do, now you want to prioritize that, right? Because you might choose to do it all at once, but that could be disruptive to your business, but it can also be just a lot of work, right? And depending on how many resources you have behind you to help you, if you're trying to do it all by yourself, right, you might want to need it out or create a phased implementation plan where you're like, at bare minimum, I've got to be consistent with my email back to them when they place their order, right? And that email needs to be consistent. So I'm going to create a template for that email, and I'm going to use that template. I'm going to put it in a location where I can always find it, and that's how I'm going to do it. Does that make sense? Right? So you can start with manual processes, and that's just fine. But all of that work is also going to support you if you want to automate it. So by writing it down, it helps you also clearly communicate what it is that you want to your technician. And that alone is huge, right? Your technician doesn't necessarily know this stuff, guys. So I think there's a hope that when you hire desktop tech that they know all the things in IT, and they just don't. That's not how they're rewarded, and that's not how they build their skill set. So, so you can't just hope, right? It's intentional, and so this can help your technician too. And then looking at your priorities, the cost associated for doing it, the time associated for doing it, the additional skills that you need to implement it, and put together a little mini project plan so that you understand the time frame that you're working for, how much it's going to cost you, what you need, what your prerequisites are, your dependencies are, so that you can get those in place so that you're not, like constantly hitting up against the wall. Right? And then you're going to have to manage it, right? So then what are your measurements or your key performance indicators to ensure that you're meeting your expectations for delivery? So if you say, I've set a 3-day delivery or a 1-hour, initial communication time frame, then that's a key performance indicator that you're going to measure your project success or your process success with. And then you can either manually you're creating those metrics, or you can get your technician to set up a report and tracking for those so that you can then manage your business that way, right? Because data management is the only way to effectively run your business. And then you're going to need a tiered support model. So when somebody calls for support, right, you might have all of the information, but if you're the only one who has all of the information, you can't delegate it, right? You can't leave your business. And so in order to take a vacation, if you happen to get sick, right, you're going to need a support model that allows you to offset your support or delegate your support and make sure that it's effective and aligned with your desires and your people. So I do offer a 5-star customer service class that goes through all of this. It includes templates for emails. It includes an overview of here's the process. We're going to teach you about it conceptually to the level that you need to know, right? We're not taking you all the way back to MBA school. You don't have to get a master's in technology to implement this, right? And that's the value that I bring. I distill it all down. We talk about the things that you need to know, right? And then how to get it implemented, how to outsource it, how to run it and automate it. Ultimately, you want to be moving in the direction of integration and automation so that you can reduce your operating costs, you can delegate it, you can hire people to do it. All of that is super important and saves you money as well as sanity. So I hope this was useful. I hope that you got a lot out of this. It's always my intention to deliver a ton of value. And hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. But if it is, let me know because I can help, right? I can help you. And that's why I'm here. So thank you all very much for watching and listening. And I appreciate you being here. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.